everyone. Welcome back. You are watching Inside right now. We are joined by Heather Foster with Foster Financial, always bringing us those important tips as we take our financial journey and learn more and more. Heather, it's a pleasure to have you back here.
Always good to be here.
Yeah, well, today we're talking about the importance of beneficiary structure.
Yeah.
What exactly is that when we're talking about it?
So it's who are you leaving your assets to when you're no longer on this earth?
Yeah.
So it's a really important conversation, and there's a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to beneficiary structure. Almost 99% of people we meet say, hey, my beneficiaries are set. And I can tell you 98% of the time when we do our in-depth analysis, there's some sort of missed field. Maybe they've missed listing a contingent beneficiary, or they've listed someone that they didn't realize they still had on there, like an ex-spouse or a parent still, because maybe life circumstances have changed and they never went back in there and updated them. So relying on, I think I did something isn't good when you're talking about beneficiaries. Verification that your beneficiaries are set up and are set up correctly is extremely important.
Yeah, and we had talked about in a previous segment that, you know, as you're handing over that information, you don't want to think about it all at that time. So taking care of it beforehand is truly important. Let's talk a little bit about those things that people maybe should avoid, or those mistakes that mostly people make. We've got something to be able to pop up to kind of help us out. There may be 5 potential problems that most people kind of gravitate towards.
Yes. The first thing is just, like I said, failing to update your beneficiary designation in general. One, we see so many people not listing, and that's on this list too, not contingent, and they basically just skip the contingents altogether, or they failed to update their beneficiaries due to a life event. Again, a divorce, that's a life event. Do you want your ex-spouse on your 401k? No. Maybe your parents are still listed, but yet you've been married for 10 years and you don't have your kids on there or your spouse on there. So those are automatics. You should have a primary and potentially a contingent. The only way that typically people don't have a contingent, Tony, is if they've listed a trust to be their primary, which means we know it's going to go through a trust, and then that trust is going to actually dictate how those beneficiaries receive those assets. So the other big thing is, you know, like naming minors. So if you've listed a minor, so you've got maybe your spouse is your primary and you've got minor children, or you listed grandchildren and they're not of age yet. There's certain rules that need to go with that. There's certain expectations. You need to probably do some legal work to help support that as well. The other thing, you know, that I see missed so much is just making sure that you understand your legal documents and how that actually correlates with your beneficiaries. Many people say, well, my will says that my kids get this, and if one of my kids passed away, their spouse would get X. Maybe they've listed churches and charities inside of their will. Listen, if you've listed a beneficiary on an account, your 401k, your IRA, your Roth IRA, your bank account, your brokerage accounts, that does not go through your will. And it's very much misunderstood that they think, well, my will say it's going to have, this is going to happen. No, your beneficiary listing trumps your will. So the only thing that goes through that will is something that doesn't have a beneficiary listed on it. Therefore, maybe your house goes through the will, your car, your personal property. So it's extremely important to understand, one, how are things actually going? Are they going through my will, or are they a direct beneficiary listing? And if they're going through my will, again, what's actually going through that will? Most of the time, Tony, it's after-tax things that are going through the will. Tax-free things. But yet people list their church and charities in their will all the time. So you're saying you want their charity to get money that's tax-free, and you're leaving your IRAs, which have never been taxed, to your family, to your kids. So you're causing extra taxation. If you flip-flop that, simply name the churches and the charities as a primary beneficiary or a percentage of your accounts on your IRA, everyone avoids taxes. Everyone gets the inheritance tax-free. So it's very important to understand, one, are you listing things through a will, a pour-over will, or a trust? Or are you listing them as direct beneficiaries, and how do you have that set up?
Okay, all of those great tips. We appreciate it. I don't know why I'm getting all teary-eyed talking about it, but it's such great tips and information, and we always appreciate you bringing it, Heather.
It's important.
All right. Everyone, take a look at your screen right now. Find out more information about Foster Financial. Go ahead and book that complimentary consultation if you have maybe some sort of questions, and we'll be right back.